Senator Moran.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Thank you and Senator Blumenthal for the hearing. Madam Chairwoman and Commissioners, welcome to our committee. I want to talk about the topic. I'll direct my question to the Chairwoman, although if either of the other Commissioners have any comments, I would welcome that as well. The topic I want to talk about is renewable identification numbers known as RINs. This is the enforcement mechanism used by the EPA when it comes to determining whether the renewable fuel standard is being complied with. And in the process of, there are obligated parties to demonstrate that they are complying with the EPA requirements of the renewable fuel standard, but RINs become traded separate from the actual fuel. And as that occurs, as that disassociation occurs between the unit of biofuel and you have an instrument that then is traded, my question is there FTC oversight over that transaction? And I assume that the oversight would be in regard to any potential fraud that may exist in that market. My understanding is that the Office of Air Quality and Transportation within the EPA is the entity that's charged with the monitoring of and policing of RINs, but I'm curious as to whether or not there's a role the FTC does play, should play, as buyers and sellers of this increasingly expensive compliance monitoring tool becomes so prevalent.
Chairman Moran, I'm certainly aware of the concern that you have, and there may be some authority that the FTC has if there were evidence of manipulation in this particular market. I'm happy to take a closer look at this issue and have further discussions with you or with your staff, but it's conceivable that there may be a role to play here, but again, happy to provide you with additional information.
Thank you very much. Does that answer suggest that to date there hasn't been any kind of review or investigation by the FTC?
Again, I'm limited in what I can say publicly. All I can say is that I am aware of this issue. We are aware of this, and we certainly do look very closely at energy markets. But it would really, again, depend on the facts. And noting your concern, I'm certainly happy to take a closer look.
Well, I'd be glad to have additional conversation, and I welcome that look. Any other commissioners have the need or desire to share anything with me? Thank you very much. Let me turn to set-top boxes. As you know, we've had a number of conversations this morning about the Federal Communications Commission. They're advancing their own rule in regard to set-top boxes, but by their own admission, indicate that they don't have jurisdiction over device manufacturers. Chairman Wheeler told us recently that he has worked with you, the FTC, in writing that rule, and has been advised that the FCC's final rule, quote, requires that devices warrant to consumers that they are in compliance with certain sections of the Communications Act, and that the FTC will have the ability to do the necessary enforcement to protect that privacy. Could you confirm that? Tell us of the conversations you've had with the FCC in this regard, and do you believe data should be treated differently based on what government entity regulates the company or by the level of sensitivity that the data has that's being collected?
Yes, the FTC did submit comments to the proposed set-top box rulemaking by the Federal Communications Commission. We did in our comment note that third-party manufacturers of set-top boxes ought to be required to make consumer-facing statements in which they indicated that they would comply with the rules that would apply to cable companies. And by doing this, it would facilitate the ability of the FTC to enforce in this arena. And I am aware that, that Commissioner Wheeler has indicated that an intent to include that in the rule. And again, that would allow us to take action in appropriate circumstances.
And your thought about my second question?
And I apologize.
Do you believe that data should be treated differently based on what government entity regulates the company or by the level of sensitivity the data has that's being collected?
I think it is important for there to be general harmony in the way that data is treated, and in keeping with that and to that end, the FTC has submitted comments to the privacy rulemaking that the FCC is engaging in. I will note that we're in an era when a number of different agencies are having to take a look at issues that relate to privacy and data security. We certainly have been active in sharing the extensive expertise that we have in looking at these issues, given that we've devoted many resources and many years to this. But I think going forward, it will be appropriate for us to endeavor to harmonize. But there's no question that different agencies with different authority will be examining these issues.
Chairwoman, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, thank you. I would